In our everyday life, we often encounter people who drain our energy and negatively affect our mood. How can we protect ourselves from such influences while maintaining inner peace and harmony? In this video, we'll discuss how to rid ourselves of unnecessary people using the ancient philosophy of Stoicism. These principles will help you strengthen your inner peace and gain freedom from negative influences. The best way to protect yourself from future suffering is to not depend on others and not allow them to control your mood. Marcus Aurelius. Let's begin our journey towards harmony and self-improvement. Embrace your emotions. Stoicism teaches us to accept and understand our emotions without suppressing them. Acknowledge your feelings towards these people. Contrary to popular misconceptions, Stoicism does not seek to suppress emotions or completely abandon them. On the contrary, Stoics teach us the art of recognizing and being aware of our emotions, as this is the key to inner harmony. Imagine your emotions as a compass guiding you to what matters to you. When you feel irritation or resentment in the presence of certain people, it's not a signal to suppress these feelings. It's a sign that something is disrupting your inner peace, something that requires your attention. One of the key ideas of Stoicism is that emotions themselves are neither good nor bad. They are simply reactions to our perceptions of the world. When you encounter people who evoke negative emotions in you, it's important not to avoid these feelings, but to understand their source. Allow yourself to feel irritation, anger, or sadness. What are these feelings telling you? Perhaps you're encountering injustice or betrayal, or maybe you just feel uncomfortable in the presence of a certain person. But here's the intrigue. Understanding your emotions is only the first step. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Man is disturbed not by events, but by his views of them." And here Stoicism offers the following wisdom. If our emotions stem from our perceptions, then by changing our perception, we can change our emotions. Reflecting on your feelings, you begin to realize that their roots may not lie in the actions of other people, but in your attitude towards those actions. So, instead of simply getting rid of people who evoke negative feelings in you, try first to understand your reactions to them. Perhaps you'll discover that the problem isn't with these people, but with your perception. And even if you decide to stop associating with someone, it will be a conscious decision based on a deep understanding of your feelings rather than an impulsive reaction. Acknowledge your emotions and allow them to be your teachers. This is the first step towards freeing yourself from unnecessary people and maintaining inner harmony. Define your values. Realize what truly matters to you in life. Focus on what aligns with your values. When we talk about Stoicism, one of its central ideas is the awareness and adherence to our own values. It's a philosophy that emphasizes the importance of living in accordance with our highest principles and ideals. Defining your values is a fundamental step on the path to getting rid of unnecessary people. What truly matters to you in life? At this stage, it's important to deeply reflect and honestly answer this question. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it's easy to get lost and forget about our true aspirations and priorities. Perhaps you value honesty, kindness, freedom, wisdom, or a commitment to personal growth. These values form the foundation of your inner world and determine what makes you happy and fulfilled. Focusing on your values is not just a mental exercise. It's an active process that requires constant attention and mindfulness. When you have a clear understanding of what truly matters to you, it becomes much easier to make decisions about who to engage with and who to keep at arm's length. After all, people who don't share or respect your values will inevitably drag you down, distracting you from your path. Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius emphasize the importance of self-analysis and reflection on their principles. Epictetus said, "Man is not what he says, but what he does." Your actions should reflect your values, and this includes choosing your environment. You may have encountered situations where interacting with a certain person made you feel uncomfortable or even conflicted with your internal principles. In such cases, it's important to ask yourself, does this interaction align with my values? Does it contribute to my growth and well-being? By focusing on your values, you begin to see the world more clearly. You understand that not everyone should be part of your life, and that's okay. Your environment should support and inspire you, not distract or undermine your efforts. Remember that following your values is not selfishness, but a conscious pursuit of harmony and happiness. Thus, defining your values and focusing on them is a powerful tool for clearing your environment of unnecessary people. It's a path to a more meaningful and purposeful life, where every connection and interaction holds deep significance and aligns with your inner convictions. Stoics believe that we cannot control the actions and thoughts of other people. Accept this and stop expending energy on trying to change unnecessary people. At the core of Stoicism lies a fundamental truth. We cannot control other people, their thoughts, or their actions. Instead, Stoics teach us to focus on what is truly within our power, our own reactions, thoughts, and actions. Understanding and accepting this principle can be a powerful tool for freeing ourselves from unnecessary people in our lives. Each of us has likely encountered situations where we desperately tried to change someone, be it a partner, friend, colleague, or family member. We hoped that our efforts would lead to change, but more often than not, such attempts end in disappointment and resentment. As Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." This same rule can be applied to people. It's not the people themselves that disturb us, but our expectations and attempts to change them. When you acknowledge that you cannot control others, it opens the path to inner peace. Instead of wasting precious energy on futile attempts to change someone, you can redirect that energy towards your own development and well-being. It means accepting people as they are and understanding that their actions and thoughts are their responsibility, not yours. Accepting this principle helps you see that every person has the right to their own mistakes and their own lessons. When we try to change others, we interfere with their natural process of growth and development. Each person is on their own journey, and your task is to walk your own path without trying to impose your beliefs and values on others. But here's the intrigue. Accepting this principle does not mean passivity or indifference. It means mindfulness and wisdom in choosing your environment. If someone in your life constantly disrupts your inner peace, you have every right to decide whether to continue that interaction. Remember, your emotional well-being is in your hands, and you can choose who to spend your time with. Letting go of control over others is an act of liberation. It's freeing yourself from the illusion that you can change someone, and it's freeing yourself from the burden that comes with that illusion. When you stop trying to control others, you'll gain more energy and clarity to work on yourself, your goals, and your relationships. Accept this. You cannot control other people, but you can control your reaction to them. Free yourself from this burden and focus on what truly is within your power. In doing so, you'll free your life from unnecessary people and find harmony and inner peace. Define your boundaries. Establish clear personal boundaries and don't hesitate to defend them when someone violates them. Setting boundaries is not just about creating a rigid divide between you and the outside world. It's a process of determining what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not, what's acceptable for you and what's not. It's an expression of self-respect and self-care. In a world where we constantly interact with other people, setting boundaries plays an important role in maintaining healthy and harmonious relationships. Without clear boundaries, we become vulnerable to external influences and risk having our energy and needs ignored or even drowned in the stream of others' expectations and demands. Stoicism teaches us to value and respect ourselves, and setting boundaries is one way of expressing that respect. When you define your boundaries, you clearly communicate to yourself and others that you are valuable and deserving of respect. It doesn't mean you're cruel or selfish. It means you respect yourself enough to prioritize your needs and comfort. Setting boundaries isn't always easy. We often face situations where other people don't respect our boundaries or even try to violate them. But it's important to remember that we have the right to defend our boundaries and not allow them to be breached. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Don't be afraid to defend your boundaries when they're violated. It's not an insult or aggression. It's a demonstration of self-care and well-being. Sometimes it may require courage and determination, but remember that you deserve to live in a world where your boundaries are respected and valued. As Stoics, we can learn to build our relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. This means not only defending our own boundaries, but also respecting the boundaries of others. Ultimately, setting boundaries is about creating healthy and equal relationships where each person has the right to their own space and place. Thus, defining your boundaries and defending them is not just an act of self-defense, but also a manifestation of respect for yourself and others. Allow yourself to be the architect of your life and build relationships that align with your values and needs. Avoid negative influences. Stop engaging with people who bring negativity and stress into your life. Our environment has a significant impact on our mood, thoughts, and overall well-being. Stoics teach us to conserve our energy and avoid interacting with people who undermine our inner peace and harmony. Each of us is likely familiar with how certain individuals can have a toxic effect on us, triggering negative emotions, stress, and even anxiety. These could be critical or pitying individuals, constantly dwelling on the past or the future, or simply those carrying a lot of negativity and resentment. Interacting with such people not only drains our valuable energy, but also hinders our growth and potential. Ceasing communication with negative people is not just an act of isolation or closed-mindedness. It's an expression of self-care and concern for our emotional and psychological well-being. As Marcus Aurelius said, the most important thing is not to allow hostile thoughts and feelings to penetrate your mind. Maintaining your inner balance and tranquility is your right and responsibility. If someone in your life undermines your well-being and prevents you from being yourself, you have every right to end that interaction. It doesn't mean you deny or judge that person. It simply means you acknowledge your needs and boundaries, prioritizing your well-being above all else. Avoiding negative influences also means actively seeking out positive and inspiring people who support you and your goals. Interacting with such individuals nourishes your energy, motivation, and inspiration, helping you to grow and flourish. Therefore, don't hesitate to discontinue communication with people who bring negativity and stress into your life. Remember that your well-being and inner peace are worth more than any relationships that may undermine your well-being. Your life is your own, and you have the right to choose who occupies it. Release resentments. Stoics teach us to forgive and let go of resentments. This frees you from negative energy. Resentments are a heavy burden that we often carry in our souls. They can poison our lives, hinder our progress, and dampen our happiness. Stoics teach us to look at resentments from a new perspective and find in them an opportunity for growth and liberation. Forgiveness is an act of liberation from the past. When we forgive, we not only free the other person from our expectations and resentments, but also free ourselves from the burden of negative emotions. It doesn't mean that we forget or condone what happened. Forgiveness is primarily an act of compassion for ourselves and an understanding that holding on to resentment only intensifies our pain and suffering. Forgiveness is not always easy, especially if resentments were deep and painful. But Stoics teach us that forgiveness is not so much an act of repentance before another person, but rather a liberation from the shackles of the past for our own well-being. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Since you cannot turn back time and change the past, do not give it power over your present." Forgiveness is an acknowledgement that we are all human and we all make mistakes. It's a recognition of our own vulnerability and an understanding that only through acceptance and forgiveness can we move forward and build harmonious relationships with ourselves and others. When we free ourselves from resentments and forgive others, we open the doors to new opportunities and new relationships. We make space for love, compassion, and peace in our lives. We learn to cherish moments of happiness and joy instead of wasting our energy on resentments and irritation. So, allow yourself to release the weight of resentments and open your heart to forgiveness. Remember that forgiveness is not weakness, but a manifestation of true strength and wisdom. Let go of resentments and open the doors to a new life filled with light, love, and happiness. In the end, following the principles of Stoicism, we can create more harmonious and conscious relationships in our lives. Accepting our emotions, defining our values, understanding that we cannot control other people, setting our boundaries, avoiding negative influences, and forgiving. All of these help us to free ourselves from unnecessary people and negative energy, so that our lives become more filled with meaning and harmony. I hope that these principles of Stoicism have inspired you and helped you better understand how to create healthy and balanced relationships in your life. Remember that each of us deserves to live in an environment that supports us and our growth, and don't be afraid to take steps toward this goal. Thank you for watching this video and sharing this important journey with us. I wish you wisdom, strength, and inner peace in your efforts to create more conscious and harmonious relationships. May each of your days be filled with love, understanding, and mutual support. Until we meet again.